Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Zevo Health's webinar today on safeguarding your staff, enhancing the well-being of your content moderators globally. Today, we are exploring the importance of supporting the well-being of your content moderators along with Zevo's three-tiered approach to implementing a meaningful well-being program for your trust and safety department, regardless of what stage of the journey you are currently. Zevo Health is a trusted wellbeing provider offering 24/7 specialized holistic wellbeing support to over 25,000 trust and safety professionals across 50 plus cultures in 5 regions. We deliver global resiliency-based wellbeing programs as well as consultancy services to help organizations, feel confident and assured that the support they have in place for their content moderators, whether internal or outsourced, provides a standardized, comprehensive, best practice approach to well-being. My name is Emma Cook, Commercial Manager for Zevo Health. Joining me today is our wonderful panel of Zevo experts, Dr. Michelle Teo, Chartered Psychologist and Zevo's Trust and Safety Director overseeing the design and implementation of our client wellbeing programs. We have Anne Gleason. Anne is a psychological wellbeing practitioner and humanistic and integrative psychotherapist who supports our clients' trust and safety agents globally. And finally, Tomas Lopez, psychological wellbeing specialist with over 10 years experience in psychology, providing on-the-ground psychological support to Zevo clients. So, panel, looking at the first topic today, Anne and Tomas, I'll hand over to you to discuss, why supporting content moderators is an essential part of the role.
Thanks, Emma. Delighted to be here. Well, first things first, I think it's really important to understand the realistic perspective of this role. So the unique nature of the role and responsibilities that content moderators would have. It's a very intense role. It's a very focused role. So I think that's really, really important for us to acknowledge that. And I think it's important for us to be aware of potential challenges for the content moderator, potential issues, and that ripple effect of the nature of this particular role, if that makes sense. So, by acknowledging this, we can really take the fear and confusion out of certain processes that might occur for the content moderator. So let's say if there's any impact with viewing graphic content, then we can be mindful of this, we can be prepared for this. And if anything comes about where, let's say, a content moderator is affected in their day-to-day work, then they will have a knowledge of it and they'll know what to do as well. And they'll also have an awareness of support from that internal and external perspective as well. And, it's really important to have an awareness of that support and to provide it in a practical sense, because it really does encourage that consistent growth and development that is part of the role. Because it is so intense and because of the kind of nature of it, we have to be aware of the importance of emotional well-being, of self-care, of support. So by having, let's say, that support in place, it shows the importance of it. And it shows that from a collective sense that there is that kind of regard for the importance for that support for content moderators, if that makes sense.
Yes, and something that I would say as well in the sense of prevention. So we need to think about that as something important. So we don't want to be reactive when we are delivering the programs. We just want to be preventive. And by saying that, we take into consideration people's cultural background as well. So for some people, the program might be tailored in a specific way that will be preventive, that will be more effective in a preventive way, but for other people, it might not be that way. So it is important to also take that into consideration, the individuality, and that will not safeguard only the person, but also the organization. So everyone will be safeguarded in that sense, that for the content moderators and the organization itself, that the approach of prevention is extremely important. And then we just don't lets the situations happen and then we act. No, ideally we will always act beforehand, before anything happens. So that would be something extremely important to take into consideration as well.
Great. Yeah, and Tomas, thank you for some great insights for our audience there. And Michelle, looking at Zevo's three-tiered approach to implementing a meaningful wellbeing program, perhaps we could talk firstly about one of the components, which is conducting a psychosocial assessment, just what's involved and, why an organization would actually do it.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. So in terms of a psychosocial assessment, what we're looking at is organizational factors which may impact an employee's health and well-being. So we're looking at this from the occupational health and safety lens, and it involves identifying potential hazards to psychological health and well-being, assessing those risks, determining the steps that are necessary to control these risks, and then reviewing all of those control measures. So in conducting a psychosocial assessment, this involves our consultancy department, where our psychological consultant comes in. This is a trained health psychologist, and they're working alongside your senior leadership team, possibly even your HR departments, to follow each step of that process. And it's almost like a rubric or a checklist is kind of brought in, and various areas are looked at, such as job control, workload demand, support structures that are in place, change management procedures, rewards and recognition, everything that may contribute to psychological health and well-being. So within each of these areas, we're maybe looking at the different duty or task elements associated, and then any possible consequences that might come about if an individual is injured, and the likelihood that these consequences may occur. And there's a lot of kind of short-term and long-term benefits to conducting a psychosocial assessment. Short-term, it's just knowing really in real time where there may be potential risks or liabilities for the organization as a whole, and having a clearly defined set of control measures for these risks. If we're looking long-term, we're looking at how we can improve all of these areas of risk, reducing the likelihood of consequences to occur. And this is going to have a huge impact on things like employee retention, productivity, presenteeism, loyalty to the organization. And it also helps develop a sense of meaning and purpose in the role for your employees. So a workforce that knows you are conducting such an assessment is one that knows that you care about their health and well-being.
Great. And, in terms then of, spotlighting the needs of the trust and safety department then for optimal engagement, like how would an organization kind of go about doing that?
So what's really great with Zevo is we have something called our Well-Being Audit, and this entails a survey and also focus groups. So our survey can be adapted according to your organization's needs, but generally it'll include questions about work engagement, social kind of well-being, resilience levels. And then small focus groups are implemented with your trust and safety teams and with support functions like team leaders, quality analysts, policy teams, etc. So if we look at this in a little bit more detail, your survey gets sent out first, and that gets sent out to your entire trust and safety population within your organization and all of the support functions. Generally, we allow kind of 2 weeks for responses to come in, and then our focus groups start to take place. And once we've done all of that, a report is compiled using both the quantitative data from the survey and the qualitative data that we get from the focus groups. And this helps us to identify where there are gaps in the well-being provision and how Zevo can come in and help fill some of those gaps. Similar to our psychosocial assessment, there are going to be short and long-term benefits of doing a well-being audit. So short-term, it helps us develop a very tailored program where the specific needs of your trust and safety team are determined from the outset. And if we're looking long-term, again, similarly to our psychosocial assessment, we are looking at your organization's return on investment through employee retention, presenteeism, productivity, and when your teams start to engage with our tailored well-being solutions, this means that they're getting as much support as they need in a very tailored way. So there can possibly be some confusion just around the difference between a psychosocial assessment and the well-being audit. And where we really see the difference between the two different processes is that our psychosocial assessment is on that organizational level, and our well-being audit is more with the people who are working on the ground every day, the content moderators and all of their support functions. And these are really the bread and butter of your organization. Getting to understand their needs means that we can tailor all of our interventions accordingly.
And then Michelle, like, so for like the audience members today, you know, at what stage of their journey should they be conducting, you know, a psychosocial assessment and or a well-being audit?
So there's kind of two different ways that we look at this. If your organization is completely new to the trust and safety space and potentially doesn't have a robust kind of well-being program in place or well-being services in place, then Zevo can come in from the outset with our psychosocial assessment and start looking at the organization as a whole to see where all of those risks might lie and where we can kind of control those risks for you. And then we can build into the next step the well-being audit. And this means that we're then tailoring the program to your needs. If your organization already has a well-being program, or perhaps you have health insurance providers, you have maybe other well-being services that you provide, we can come in at any stage during that process. So you might already have a fully established trust and safety team that has been working for a year or 2 years, and you're looking now to implement a well-being program. We can still come in at that stage and do a psychosocial assessment and also do a well-being audit.
Yeah, that's you know, good to know. And then, so Anne and Tomas, like, as we explore implementing a well-being program that safeguards every content moderator in an organization, and you know, as practitioners who support trust and safety professionals, like, how do you then see the audit informing a program? So Anne, I might hand over to you first on that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the audit and the information that we gather within that is absolutely vital for when we're designing the programs for content moderators and clients. Like Michelle had said, you know, it means that we can be specific, so we can tailor the program to their acute needs, their specific needs, and also coupling that with our kind of foundation of knowledge and experience of what it means to work in trust and safety, what it means to be in that role of content moderator. So we're kind of bringing those two, or linking those two in together. So really the program design it's thorough, and there's many layers to it in the sense that it is fit for purpose. So we're bringing all of this kind of useful information and knowledge together. And also, you know, it's a great space for us to be able to connect directly with content moderators, to be able to get a sense of their lived experience in their role, because it will differ from person to person, it will differ from client to client. So we get a really deep sense of what it is for them that they need, let's say. And also because of from our kind of collective sense in Zevo Health, we have plenty of different, let's say, psychological backgrounds, psychotherapeutic backgrounds. So if somebody is coming to a space, let's say like a focus group, and saying that they need some kind of support, or they need some kind of help, like let's say switching off or something like that, and they mightn't necessarily have the psychological language to know what is needed or what would be most beneficial, but we have that, and we can translate that and bring that in that practical sense. So then we can see it through to, let's say, those kind of real world outcomes for content moderators to be able to take on that support and to take on that psychoeducation, that learning as well. So let's say, for example, if we are taking information from an audit and we translate that then into part of a program design that needs support and training around dealing with graphic content. So that would mean that we would be be providing content moderators with tools and techniques, practical stuff to be able to use in the moment, but also long term as well. So let's say if we're dealing with content and we're focusing on that as a theme or a topic, we're able to provide content moderators with knowledge on how to self-soothe in the moment, knowledge of triggers and the impact of the work itself, information around subjects like vicarious trauma, and also to be able to understand the kind of importance of self-care going forward. Let's say being able to look after themselves in the long-term sense, and also that support piece as well, that external kind of collective space as well. Another example would be, let's say, if we are providing training around resilience. So, you know, to be able to provide content moderators with that kind of building of self-confidence about dealing with challenges, specific challenges to their role and their responsibilities, and to be able to do that and to kind of provide themselves with that help in the moment as well. It's so useful. So it's really it's a real privilege to be able to provide that and to see it through as well, and to see the kind of fruits of that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and some important parts as well that we need to take into consideration is that the personal level, as Anne was saying. So when we do the program, we see the benefits of it. So in the way Zevo does, it's very tailored for the client and the teams. So it supports the employee, but also supports in the business level, which promotes a morale increase, retention, and the feeling that the organizations is mindful of their mental health. So it's not just us there delivering the program. Yes, it is that, but besides that, and extra to that, we do have as well the sense of, okay, the organization is giving that to the employees. So the organization is also taking care of the employees. And definitely the employees will notice that. The employee will say, okay, I feel valued here. They are looking after me. They know how important my mental health is. And that's why the Zevo team is there. So it does help the whole scenario, the whole organization to help the employees to feel that way. So, and that's the way that Zevo does the program. And also, we do have, like as Michelle and Anne was saying about the audit. So while we are there, we start noticing, okay, some specific teams, they would be more willing to do some kind of exercise. For example, peer group support might not work for all the teams, because some people, they are more reserved, they don't like to talk much. And when we are there, we do take that into consideration. We are there to make a difference. And we want the employees, we want the content moderators to feel that they are listened, and that we are there delivering the program specifically for their needs. So when we are there, we start noticing that, and then we are constantly reassessing the program to help the employees, to help the teams to use the program, and that the program does make a difference in their lives. So some examples there that we provide, we have like the basic part of the program, the one-to-ones, the peer group support, they'll always be there. Okay, but extra to that, we have other activities that we use to support specific teams with their needs. And then we do art therapy, we do music therapy, we do yoga, physical activities, nutrition support. So all is a very robust program. And then we do take into consideration the specific needs of each team. And also we see the continuous improvement and development for the employees, and consequently for the organization. So there are some activities that we do, specific coaching sessions. We have the personal effectiveness sessions that supports the employee to feel, okay, there is specific needs that I have, that skill I need to improve. I need to improve my communication skills, for example. I need to improve my time management skill, for example. And then we do have specific sessions for that. So the person will come to us and say, okay, there's this area that I would like to work on, because I am thinking about a promotion here in the company. So how the Zevo team can help me with that. So we do have that as well. And then we'll increase retention. Then they will feel that, okay, the organization is looking after my professional side as well. It is taking care of my mental health, but also of my professional side. So the person will feel like, okay, there is this program there that I can use with the Zevo team. And then I will have more chances to be promoted and to feel valued in the company. So this program is something that we also deliver. And then this shows the employees that the organization is also supporting them in this process of growth, which will consequently promote high morale as well.
I think it's also just important to mention, the organization obviously is a structure in its whole, and our well-being specialists are on the ground implementing the program, but Zevo itself also has a structure to support this. So we have a dedicated trust and safety team within our operations department. This ensures that your organization will have a very structured support system for your well-being program. So there's an account executive, we have a business operations manager, adept at kind of resolving any issues that may arise, and then myself as the trust and safety director to kind of oversee any potential escalations, the entire program as a whole, and then also the team of well-being specialists actually delivering your services. So our team also provides reporting on a regular basis. So for organizations, it tends to be, we want information around engagement figures, emerging trends that are coming out of the one-to-one sessions and out of the peer group supports. We'll sit down with your organization on a quarterly basis to review how the program is going and to make any kind of necessary adjustments that we need to. And every member of the trust and safety team has been working within the space of trust and safety for long enough that we really understand the nuances of content moderation and the unique challenges that content moderators face when they are sitting in this role. So we're here to resolve those issues and to help support your organization with excellent engagement in our program and to ensure the safety of all of your content moderators.
Michelle and Tomas, like some, really helpful insights there and information. Thank you. You all have significant experience in the trust and safety industry and have seen, how quickly the industry is growing and evolving. On a personal level, Michelle, like for you, like what has been one of the most significant or positive outcomes, you've seen from a well-being program?
A really great question. So if I'm thinking about the nature of kind of these trust and safety industries, because organizations will have individuals from so many different backgrounds, so many different cultures, speaking multiple languages, oftentimes employees coming into an organization are new to the country and English is maybe their second language. And if we take into consideration that the vast majority of content moderators are expats, they're probably coming into this role, maybe only living in the country a month or 2 months, maybe like 6 months. And so coming into an organization that has a well-being program in place really helps them feel that they're moving into a new space that is minding their well-being and taking care of them in some way. So we see a lot of the time that someone is new to the country, they've joined an organization as a content moderator, they don't have a big kind of social support network, and our program helps facilitate that for them because they get to know their employees a little bit better. They get to perhaps, build those relationships through our program, and then that feeds into their personal life and into their social life as well. And it also just sits them into an organization where they feel that they're trusted, that they're valued, that they have some valuable input, and where they feel they want to stay, long term, because they've developed those friendships, they've developed those relationships.
And Anne, what about yourself? You know, why do you find this work so rewarding?
I mean, I could talk to you all day about that. There's so many reasons as to why, but you know, I feel like it's such a privilege to have an insight into the work of a content moderator, and also to be aware of the importance of the work as well, the kind of challenging role that it is. And it is challenging, you know, to be a part of that from a support point of view, and to be able to provide somebody with the tools and the techniques in order to maintain a healthy quality of life overall for themselves is such a wonderful thing. And developing those relationships with teams as well, and with people on a one-to-one basis, is so important for me personally, to get that kind of reward from the work. And you know, as a whole, we have such a belief in the importance of taking care of yourself, and of connecting with others, and being mindful of your limits and your boundaries, and to be able to be a consistent figure in people's lives as they do this, as they gather this information and grow and develop. It's off the charts, you know. It's just so great to be a part of that.
And Tomas, how about you? You know, what's one of your favorite parts of delivering a program?
I believe that one of my favorite parts of delivering the program is to see that in some of the sessions, the person is taking something from that straight away. So we see that in some of the sessions, for example, the person effective in the session, we do like a skill, a specific skill that we work on that, and we give some practical tips and practical techniques that even in the first session, we see that the person finish the session, say, oh, I never thought about this. I never considered that would be something for that specific skill that I could develop and that I could put in practice. So one of my favorite parts is to see that what we are doing there is actually making a difference, and the person is having insights that can use that technique, use that skill in their personal and in their professional lives. And that's something that's extremely like I feel that okay, the person is using what I am actually here doing. So it's not just the person is leaving the session and not taking anything from it. I can actually see that the person is taking something very valuable from it. And we even notice that it helps the employee to be more productive and efficient while working for the organization, so that it will promote to the teams and for their career growth as well. So that's one of my favorite parts, to see that we are actually making a difference.
Yeah. Great. Well, look, we've come to the end of the webinar. Again, Michelle and Tomas, thank you so much for all of the information and your time today. For the audience members, thank you all for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this session. If you have any questions, please do contact us at hello@zevohealth.com. I hope you have a good day, and thank you again.